So today we have something. I was going to do this series, and I'm still going to do this series on women anglers, because I think there's a lot to discuss when it comes to just having a woman angler. And I had finished my trip up yesterday. It was a great day. It was a late start, so we were coming off at about 7 o'clock. The sun was going down, and there was this person waiting near the boat ramp, and they're all ninja'd up in balaclava, so you can't tell who it is. And she was really nice. She said, how's it going? How was the day? Told her what we were using. And I go to get the Sequoia and then bring the trailer back to load up the boat. And she had netted a couple of fish for my client because she was waiting, and then my client was in the boat. So I went up and talked to her, and she says, aren't you that person from YouTube that caught that big brown, told the story about it? And I said, yeah, that's me. Shook her hand, said, my name is Jude Duran. She said, my name is Sarah. And so we started talking, and I gave her a rig to fish that was already pre-rigged so that she could keep fishing for the rest of the night. And I guess
I lost it.
So she lost it, and she went to the fly shop, which was already closed, thankfully, but we were there. I was dropping off my client. So I said, you know what, I'll meet you at the Texas hole, and I'll re-rig your rod. And I don't know why. It's been a long day, I guess. Well, I know why, because if it wasn't for people doing this for me when I started fly fishing, then I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I know for a fact that where I'm at, my level, is a culmination of all the people that have helped me to get here. So the more that I could pay that forward, the better. So we talked, and I rigged up her rod, told her where to fish in the Texas hole, and it was so awesome because she caught a fish, a really nice fish, probably like 19 inches. First fish on the river, San Juan River, first trip on the San Juan, all the way from Washington State. So the cool part about it is that she had recognized me from the video about the 30-inch brown that I caught last fall. And she said, well, kind of explain what you said about how you felt when you were watching the video.
Yeah, I was emotional because you said, people will fish here 25, 30 years and not catch a fish like that. And the quote that stuck with me was that sometimes the fish find you. So
yeah, totally.
I thought it was really special that you grew up fishing here, and you were sight fishing to this fish, and you had seen this fish over multiple trips. So you were stalking it, over a period of time, and you kept, you were persistent in changing your flies, changing your presentation, and finally you got the take. Your friend was there to help net. Just really magical moment.
Yeah, and that's really what it was, a culmination of a special thing, that happened. So fast forward, we talk, and I say, hey, I'm gonna film I have an idea to film this about women fly fishing. You are from Pacific Northwest, you're younger. She did this trip all on her own, came all the way down to fish by herself. I respect that so much. She's grinding it out. She got information, but she's doing a one-day guide trip with another guide, but she grinded it out on her own. So I said, okay, let's meet at the river, and maybe we can fish together if you want to, and if you feel like it, you can do this. You can be a participant in this YouTube series on women and fly fishing. So there's all that good karma, all that good, going back and forth that we're texting about these fish. So she's having lunch. I go down and meet her at the pavilion, and then we put the boat in.
Well, we saw the fish jump out of the water.
Yeah, so we're in the boat, getting ready to fish, rowing up, and then I'm on the side kind of re-rigging her rod, and we see this fish jump out of the water. And it's huge. I mean, it's a huge fish, and it porpoises, like a killer whale. And she gets freaked out, and I get freaked out, but I'm trying to be calm inside, but I'm freaking out. So I go, and I'm standing on top of the land watching the fish, and I can see it. So we're going into sight fishing mode, like predator mode. We're hunting that fish again. And I know it's a big fish, but I don't know how big it is. But I'm pretty direct, and I tell her, feel along your line and see if there's any abrasions, because if you catch this fish, we can't have anything go wrong. This is a fish of a lifetime. You don't want to have a little knot or a little abrasion ruin your day if you have a chance of hooking this fish. So she feels it, no. And I say, okay, let's adjust your indicator. It's a little bit shallower than we were fishing.
My hands are shaking.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, adjust your indicator. And she says, my hands are shaking when she's trying to do this. And this is what's awesome about a woman. Sorry, not sorry. It's just the truth. Like if I had told a dude who's been fishing for 50 years that this put him on a 30-inch fish, half of what, third of what, 2/3 of what I told him would have gone in one ear and out the other. And she took every single word to heart, and I told her, you have to trust me because you're not going to see the indicator move. I'm going to see this fish's mouth open, and I'm going to tell you to set. And when I tell you to set, you got to just trust me and set the hook. So she made a couple of good casts, and then what happened after that? I mean, it wasn't very long after that.
No, and it was pretty much exactly like the experience you had, except I only spent like half a day on the river so far.
Yeah.
But we sight fished it. You coached me through it. The fish was 2 feet away from the boat, 3 feet maybe. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing. So she makes a good cast, a good mend, and I tell her, strip it in. We're gonna have to create some current there. And the fish took the fly, and I saw the white of its mouth. The fish is probably 2.5 feet underwater. She can't see anything but the indicator. So I say, set, 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 and she just rips it back and sets the hook. And immediately, like the rod starts bending, and the fish starts going slosh, slosh, like back and forth. And it's huge because it's making this wake as it does this to try to spit the fly. So I got freaked out and went around, got the net. Thank God I had my waders on. She was wadered up. So I got in the water. Like I told her, just get them on the reel as much as you can, and don't fight it as hard as you think. Like give it more leeway than you normally would. So she did a great job of fighting the fish, keeping her angle right. And I got in, up to my waist. And I just happened to put the net in the water, introduced it to the water, and then tried to net it, and my net almost broke because it's so heavy that my net literally almost breaks. So the second time, thank God, I have a chance of netting it, and I net this fish. And we're both, I think you screamed.
I was screaming,
yeah. And we're both just freaking out, so happy. She gets out of the boat, gets into the water, and we go to take the hook out. It's in the net. And it's this net. So this is a huge net. They hardly make nets bigger than this, and the fish would not fit in the net. Its head is here, and then its tail comes down to here. So it's just kind of it's just bent in the net. The tail's out right here. And every time she wants to, or he wants to, it just, it would try to get out of the net. It would just shake the net, these violent shakes. So I think I go to grab it first and hold it up, and I'm a big dude, so I've held a bunch of big fish, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that I couldn't lift the fish up. I literally could not lift this fish up. I had to go and put my forearm against its belly and then cradle the fish so I could lift it up. So a conservative estimate, 24, 25 pounds, just an immense brown trout, a huge fish. And I think I took a couple of pictures, a video, and then we switched where she got to hold the fish. And what was it like when you finally got a chance to hold the fish?
I mean, the word porpoise is the perfect description because it was like a baby dolphin, slippery, huge. I could barely wrap my arms around it to pick it up, and I felt like I wasn't, doing it justice. But yeah, it was incredible. So it felt like, that fish really did choose us in that moment. We just so happened to run into each other. And first trip into the boat, saw that fish, and it was game time.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, she was a trooper because she's deep, you know, we don't want to hurt the fish, so she's deep. I keep the net underneath the fish. She goes to grab it and then loses her footing, and she goes in, like up to probably her chest, but she still has the fish. Like, she's a champ. She's not going to let it go. So she comes out and water goes over her waders, but it doesn't matter, you know, it's freezing water. And she finally has to, we wet her waders, they're soaked, everything's soaked. So she has to cradle the fish like this, and you'll see pictures, but she's cradling the fish, and it's just immense. This fish is the fattest, deepest fish I've ever seen in all this time. I mean, in holding it, I've seen bigger fish, but never had a chance to actually catch it and hold it and see it up close. But to experience that was amazing. And to think that we had met in an instance where she's talking about my big fish, and I never met her, I never knew her, never heard of her before last night. And I think that I'm positive that the karma, whatever you want to call it, being blessed about being able to land that fish in an instance where I had done that for her, and she had found me from hooking the big fish on YouTube, and now she has her chance to have her own story and her own YouTube or social media, or her own memory of hooking and landing a huge brown on the San Juan River. So we just completely came full circle on this experience. And if it's anything, it's a lesson on how much you give to others and how much you get back. Because I didn't think that I was going to stay. I didn't think that I was going to film and then want someone to fish around someone until this project came up. And it was all meant to be. The way it happened was the way it was supposed to happen. That fish chose her. She fought it. We were able to land it, take pictures. Everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. It was awesome.